There was a mighty city called Yidus, known across the land for one thing: movement. Its roads were the veins of the land. Its buses, cars, kikis, and bikes were the blood that flowed day and night. The horns sang like restless birds. The traffic lights blinked like watchful spirits. And the people, oh, the people flowed endlessly, like a river that never dries. In Yidus, a day without motion was unthinkable. But the elders always said, when the noise becomes too loud, even spirits cover their ears. No one understood this proverb, until the week the roads went silent, a rumbling beneath the wind. The trouble did not begin with shouting or broken glass. It started with a rumbling, a kind of whispering complaint carried by drivers, conductors, and riders. The cost of fuel rose like a stubborn sun that refused to stop climbing. Bus parts became expensive. Tickets became worthless. And the people who drove the wheels of the city felt their backs cracking under a burden that only grew heavier. One morning, at the main motor park of Yidus, a driver named Okachukwu slammed his hand on the steering wheel and shouted, "This road will swallow us before it swallows our buses. How can we carry the entire city when the city refuses to carry us?" Others murmured their agreement. A Kiki rider called Miriam shook her head. "We wake up before dawn," she said, "and by nightfall what is left? Dust on our faces and hunger in our bellies." The rumbling grew. By noon it was a roar. By sunset, a decision had been made. The drivers, riders, conductors, everyone whose life depended on the motion of the city, announced a strike. A silence fell on Yidus that night, but no one knew it would grow into a silence so powerful that even the city spirits themselves would wake. The first morning without movement. The next dawn looked strange. The streets were empty, shockingly empty. No buses shouting destinations. No conductors dangling by the side of a bus. No bikes darting between cars. No honking. No engines coughing. Just quiet. The people came out of their houses confused. A woman trying to reach the market muttered, "Ah, is this the day the roads died?" Children looked at the highways and asked, "Mama, who swept all the cars away?" The city was breathing differently, slowly, reluctantly, and high above, in places only old storytellers speak of, the spirits of Yidus stirred. They were ancient beings who lived in the sounds of the city. They fed on rhythm, footsteps, engines, crowds, chaos. Without noise, they grew restless. One spirit, a Arins of the crossroads, whispered, "If the humans do not move, the city's heart will slow." Another, Ifioma the market wind, replied, "Noise is life, silence is sickness." Their whispers danced across rooftops, rustling curtains. But no human heard them, except one, the boy who heard roads speak. In a narrow street near the old clock tower lived a boy named Ojidiga, a quiet 12-year-old who had a strange gift. He could hear what roads were saying. Ever since he was little, he heard the hum beneath the asphalt, the murmurs in potholes, the sighs of sidewalks that longed to be repaired. On the day of the strike, Ojidiga woke up and felt an emptiness he had never sensed before. The roads were not murmuring. They were silent. He pressed his ear to the street. Nothing. He walked to the main junction. Nothing. Even the rumbling of hidden pipes was gone. "This is not a normal silence," the boy whispered. "This is the silence of something holding its breath." He felt a pull inside his chest, a calling. Something was wrong not only with the city's people, but with the soul of Yidus itself. Elders in the square. By midday, the city was boiling with confusion. Crowds gathered at Yidus Central Square, waving hands, arguing. "We cannot go to work. We cannot reach the hospital. My children are stranded. I walked 3 hours already. What kind of strike is this?" But across the commotion, one old man raised a staff and beat it upon the ground. His name was Elder Natazi, oldest of the city's keepers of lore. Silence rippled. He spoke. "The drivers have closed their roads because their burdens grew heavier than their steering wheels. But listen, the spirit of the city is also troubled. When road spirits tremble, the whole land shivers." People frowned. Many did not believe in spirits anymore. But even the most skeptical felt that something was off, something deeper than politics or protest. A doctor in the crowd nodded slowly. "Indeed, even the air feels different." Elder Natazi continued, "We must find balance. Humans and spirits must breathe as one. And for that, we need a messenger." His eyes wandered across the crowd, until they settled on a small boy with dusty sandals and wide, listening eyes. Ojidiga, the journey to the sleeping highway. That evening, Elder Natazi took the boy aside. "You hear the roads, don't you?" he asked. Ojidiga tensed. "How did you know?" "Because when a city falls silent, only those born with the gift of listening can hear the truth." He placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "You must go to the sleeping highway, the oldest road of Yidus. There, the spirit of the city may speak to you." Ojidiga felt fear tighten in his throat. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is a decision to walk despite it. So he agreed. They set off as the moon rose, a thin silver blade cutting the sky. The city was still unnaturally quiet. Even stray dogs lay without barking. The traffic lights blinked into emptiness, confused by the lack of cars. When they reached the sleeping highway, a massive abandoned road built during the city's early era, Ojidiga felt a wave of cold energy rush over him. The tar beneath them shuddered. A voice rose from the ground, deep and echoing. Why has movement stopped in my veins? Ojitiga swallowed hard and answered, the drivers are suffering. They refuse to move until things change. The voice rumbled again. If the people suffer, the city suffers. If the drivers slow, the city slows. You cannot wound one part of the body without the others feeling pain. Ojitiga suddenly understood. The strike was more than human frustration. It was a cry from the very soul of Udus. The spirit of the city awakens. The ground cracked softly, and from it rose a shimmering figure, half light, half dust, standing tall as a billboard and gentle as evening wind. The spirit of Udus. Ojitiga trembled, but did not run. The spirit spoke. A city is not its buildings. A city is its people and their movement. If one group is ignored, the whole city weakens. Ojitiga asked timidly, how can we fix it? The spirit smiled sadly. Humans forget that roads are not just stone and tar, they are promises. When leaders break their promises, roads crack. When drivers suffer, engines rebel. When citizens struggle, silence replaces motion. The boy nodded. What must be done? Bring the drivers, the city elders, and the leaders together. You will speak for the roads. Through you, they may hear what they've been ignoring. Before disappearing, the spirit touched the boy's forehead. A rush of sounds entered Ojitiga's ears, honking, footsteps, engines, crowds. Every sound the city had lost. He gasped. The spirit whispered, restore balance, or the silence will swallow Udus forever. The great gathering. The next morning, Ojitiga returned with Elder Natazi to the city square, where frustration was boiling like soup on fire. But when the boy raised his voice, something unusual happened. People listened. He spoke of what the spirit had shown him. He repeated the message of balance. He explained that a city cannot stand if those who keep it moving are treated like invisible wheels. The drivers nodded fiercely. The citizens murmured with new understanding. Even the leaders, who had refused dialogue earlier, began to shift uncomfortably. Then Ojitiga said something that broke the tension. When the roads went silent, every one of us suffered. Let us fix what broke, together. It was the first time someone had framed the strike not as a fight, but as a wound shared by everyone. His words began to melt the hardness in the crowd. Slowly, conversations replaced shouting. Negotiations replaced accusations. And by afternoon, a promise was carved. The cost burden of transport workers would be addressed. The drivers would return to work. Citizens would support the push for fair change. And the city leaders would no longer ignore the ones who moved the city forward. When the agreement was sealed, something miraculous happened. A soft wind blew across the square. A hum rose from the streets. Engines whispered awake. The city breathed again. 9. The road sang once more. That evening, Udus was reborn. Buses rumbled with new purpose. Kikis danced through streets. Bikes buzzed like happy bees. And the citizens, tired but relieved, filled the roads with motion again. As Ojitiga walked home, he pressed his ear to the ground one last time. The roads were singing. Not loud, not chaotic, but steady and grateful. Elder Natazi stood behind him and smiled. You've done well, child. Ojitiga smiled back. It was a city. I only listened. The moon shone warmly on the revived city. And far above, the spirits of Udus whispered to one another. The city moves again. Balance has returned. The boy who listens has restored our heartbeat. The lesson of Udus. From that day on, the people of Udus learned a new wisdom. A city is a living being. Every worker is a heartbeat. Every driver is a vein. Every citizen is a breath. And when any part of the city hurts, the whole city must feel it and fix it. Because movement is life. And silence, when born from suffering, is a warning.